Okay, so let's start with a few things which I want to tell you about lipids. Yesterday we did the bonding, the types of lipids, and what are the various chemical structures of lipids, how are the bonds formed in lipid. This is what few things which I would like to discuss, few important things about the types of lipids which I would like to discuss. Yesterday I told you that there are simple lipids and the types of yesterday the first type of lipid I told you were the simple lipids, and in these simple lipids I told you there are two types. One are true fats and the second are waxes. This is what I told you. This is what I told you, the true fats and waxes, the type of the first type of lipid, which is simple lipid. Is it clear? This is what I told you, if you remember. Okay, fine. So in the simple lipids, and what is the difference between the true fats and waxes? See, fatty acid is same in both. Fatty acid is present in this also and in this also. Both have fatty acid as one of the important components. Now, as I told you, the fats, they have fatty acid, lipids have fatty acids and alcohol. The lipids are composed of fatty acids and alcohol. So if fatty acids, both of them have, but if the alcohol which is present in them, if it is glycerol, then it is true fat. So fatty acids plus glycerol makes it true fats. And if along with fatty acid, any other alcohol is present, any other alcohol is present, but not glycerol, any other alcohol, but not glycerol, then these are waxes. This is the major difference between the two types of simple lipids, in which the first is fatty acid and glycerol. If the alcohol is glycerol, we call it a true fat. If the alcohol is any other alcohol besides glycerol, we call these waxes. Now, I would like to tell you something about the waxes. Okay, waxes. What are the types, few types of waxes, which I left yesterday. So I would like to tell you about waxes. So there are various types of waxes. The first type of wax which is present is the plant wax. Plant wax. You know, do the plants consist of wax? Have you ever heard? The plant consisting of wax. Have you ever heard, beta? Plants consisting of wax? Yes. Yes. Have you ever heard? Yes. The plants, yes, the plants consist of wax. And what for that wax is? The wax is their wax forms a coating on their leaves, on various, on the petals also, and on the stem also. And what is, yes, Deepika, the hydrophyte, lotus, very good. So yes, Deepika, very nice. Lotus is a hydrophyte. It is an aquatic plant, hydrophyte. So you use the word hydrophyte, Hydrophyte. Hydrophyte means, hydro means water, phyte means plant, aquatic plant. Lotus is an aquatic plant. It is a hydrophyte. It also has a coating of wax. The plants also have a coating of wax. There are some land plants also which have coating of wax, and that is there to prevent transpiration. See, if it is hydrophyte, there is wax present to prevent decay. To prevent decay. See, what happens if any plant is there for a long time? It starts decaying. So if there is a coating of plant wax, it will not decay. Okay, it will, because that protective, that coating of wax on the plant forms a protective layer and it doesn't let it decay. So hydrophytes, if the plant wax is present in hydrophytes, it is to prevent decay. And if it is present in terrestrial plants, okay, if it is present in terrestrial plants, it is to prevent transpiration. To prevent transpiration. So if it is present in aquatic plants, it is to prevent decay. If it is present in terrestrial plants, it is to prevent transpiration so that excessive transpiration does not take place. This coating of plant wax is known as cuticle. So cuticle is a type of plant wax which is found in plants. The second type of wax, see, I'm telling you about the waxes because this is little important I found. So I'm just telling you this. The second type of plant wax, the second type of wax is the bee wax. Have you heard of bee wax? Yes. Have you heard of the bee wax, beta? Bee wax, have you heard of? The bees in the beehive. Bee wax is there. And this bee wax, what does it make? It helps in making the beehive. So bee wax is used for making beehive. So used for making beehive. And from where it is released? From where it is released? Along with honey, there is a wax like substance also which is known as bee wax. Have you ever seen the the honey bees using the beehive has where it is released from the last segment of the abdominal segment. So last abdominal segment, it is secreted by the last abdominal segment. What is abdominal segment? Three parts of the body. This is head, this is thorax, and this is abdomen. The last abdominal segment secretes this bee wax. So second type is bee wax, and the third type is ear wax. You know, we all secrete the ear wax from our ear. Ear wax is secreted, which keeps it moist and also traps the dust particles. So this is the third type is ear wax, and this ear wax is known as cerumen. Cerumen. And it is released, this ear wax, which is cerumen, is released by the ceruminous gland, which is present in ear. It is released by or secreted by ceruminous gland present in ear. So this is another type of wax which is present. Then one more type of wax is sebum. Sebum. You know what is sebum? Sebum is the oil layer, oil which is secreted on our skin. You know, sometimes you find your face very oily. So that is because of the release of skin by sebaceous glands. Sebaceous, C-E-O-U-S, glands. These sebaceous glands are present on our skin and they release an oil which is known as sebum. So this sebum is very important. And in winters, what happens? The sebaceous glands, they become inactive. So we do not release that particular oil which is naturally present in on our skin. So we need to apply moisturizer, a lot of moisturizer, because our sebum gland, our sebaceous glands, they become inactive during the winter. The amount of the oil released is very, very less. And this decreases with age. When a person ages, so this release decreases. Now, one more wax which is present is lanolin. Fifth type of wax is lanolin. This is again a type of wax which is also known as wool wax. Wool wax. This is released by the glands which are present on the skin of hairy animals like sheep. the hair of waxes, which I wanted to tell you. Is it clear, beta? Yes, beta, is it clear? Is it clear? Any doubt in this? This is a simple thing. Okay, so next I would like to tell you something about the derived lipids. These were simple lipids. Then we have conjugated lipids, and the third types of lipids were derived lipids. So I would like to tell you something about those derived lipids. So two types of derived lipids we discussed yesterday: sterols and terpenes. So derived lipids, which on hydrolysis gives both conjugated and simple lipids. So these are, I told you, of two types: the sterols and terpenes. This is what I told you. I want to tell you something about the sterols. Sterols, first I'll discuss about the sterols. The main chemical compound which is present in sterol is phenanthron. The main chemical compound. Main chemical compound in here is phenanthron. Phenanthron. This is the main chemical compound which is present in fats. Now, these fats can be obtained from animals. These can be obtained from plants. These can be obtained from fungus, etc. So, the ones which are obtained from plants, these are known as phytosterols. Phyto always means plant, phytosterols. Then obtained from fungus. These are ergosterols. Ergosterols. Then there are some fats which are obtained from animals. There are few fats which are obtained from animals, and these fats which are obtained from animals, in this the most important fat, first I'll tell you, those are known as zoosterols, and the most important zoosterol is cholesterol. So see, the animal fat gives you cholesterol. From the animals we obtain cholesterol. That is why it is said, see, most of the people, they are becoming vegan, and if they do not want to increase their cholesterol level, what do? They remove the cream from the milk and then they consume it. Even the paneer, the cheese which they make from the milk, they do not prefer to use creamed milk. They remove the cream from it and then they use it, because this increases the cholesterol. And not in your age. In your age, everything gets digested, and I think at this age, when all your glands which are secreting enzyme, they are functioning well, you should have everything. Okay, so then there are some cholesterols which are bile acids. Sterols, there are some sterols which are bile acids present in bile. There are some sterols which are steroid in nature. Steroid in nature, like progesterone, all the hormones, sex hormones, progesterone, like testosterone. These are sterols. Then we have vitamin D also, in which the sterols are present. Then we have adrenal corticoids. These are the secretions of adrenal glands, adrenal corticoids, which have sterols in them. So these are the ones where the sterols are present. Now, I'll tell you something about the terpenes. In the terpenes, the main chemical compound is isoprene. ISOPRENE. This is the main chemical compound. And these terpenes are found in various things like carotenoid pigments. We have done xanthophylls, carotenoids also. Carotenoids, pigment, of plants, these terpenes are present. Besides this, terpenes are also present in natural rubber. Natural rubber, the terpenes are present. Okay, now this terpene is also present in substance like camphor. Have you heard of camphor? Camphor. Have you heard of camphor, beta? Have you heard of camphor? Okay, what is it used for? You know this camphor? What is it used for? In Hindi, what do we call it? What do we call camphor in Hindi? Kapoor. Yes, we call it kapoor. It is used for various things. Yes, kapoor. It is used even in puja and all. So this camphor, and one more thing, eucalyptus oil. Eucalyptus oil. Both are, very strong smelling substance. Camphor has a particular smell, and even if you smell the eucalyptus oil, you will find it also has a very strong smell. So both the camphor and eucalyptus oil, they smell because of terpenes. So terpenes have a particular type of smell. The terpenes have a particular type of smell, and that particular type of smell of terpenes is because of isoprene which is present in them. So isoprene is responsible for a very strong smell of the camphor, the eucalyptus, and both are terpenes. Camphor, excuse me, camphor, eucalyptus oil, both are lipids. What type of lipids? Derived lipids. And specifically, what type of lipids? Terpenes. Both are terpenes. They have isoprene in them, and that isoprene is responsible for the strong smell of camphor and eucalyptus oil. So this, here we end with the topic lipids. So after lipids, I'll start with carbohydrates, the next biomolecule. I'll give you the introduction of carbohydrates first. What are carbohydrates? Okay. So first thing which I would like to tell you about the carbohydrates is, like all other biomolecules, the carbohydrates are also composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So carbohydrates are composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are, so sometimes when we write carbohydrates, we write it like this, CHO. That means the important component of carbohydrates, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The carbohydrates, these can be synthesized. See, this is the time I'm writing carbohydrates. Otherwise, I'll use the word this for writing carbohydrates. Okay, so when I write CHO, it means I have written carbohydrate. So plants can synthesize carbohydrates, but animals cannot. But animals cannot. So when the animals cannot synthesize, what will they? They depend on plants for carbohydrates. They depend on plants. So they depend on plants for their carbohydrate requirement. Now, as we have seen that these are simple compounds and they consist of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Now, what is the ratio of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen? They consist of C, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and the ratio of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen is 1:2 is to 1. 1:2 is to 1. This is the ratio of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in carbohydrates. Another important thing is the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen. Only I'm talking about hydrogen and oxygen is same as water. Is same as water. That means water is H2O, two molecules of hydrogen and one of oxygen. Same is present here. 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So the ratio of H and O is same as water. That is why the carbohydrates are also known as hydrates of carbon. They are also known as hydrates of carbon because of the presence of H and O in the ratio 2:1. That means hydrogen 2 and oxygen 1. Okay. Now, what are these basically? What are these carbohydrates? The carbohydrates are the CHOR polyhydroxy. I'm writing polyhydroxy aldolases or ketosis. Carbohydrates are polyhydroxy aldoses or ketosis. Now, what are aldoses and what are ketosis? Anybody can tell me what is a aldose and what is a ketose? Anybody who knows it? First of all, let's come to this term polyhydroxy. Poly means many hydroxyl groups. That means many OH are present.